Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight's post-fight press conference. I think we had another great night of fights. I think Strikeforce delivered another great show, another great night of action. And if you look at the fight card tonight, we had fights that were great decisions, action-packed fights that went to decision. We had great submissions. We also had great knockouts. And I think we saw some of the best fights that I've seen in Strikeforce in a long time. If you look at the fight card from top to bottom, starting with the Ronda fight, it was amazing to see her do her craft again. And you know, the heat that's put on Ronda right now is well-deserved. And we look forward to putting her back in the cage soon. Mr. Jacare Souza, amazing fighter. Like I said before, I followed Jacare since he was fighting in Japan. Always liked his style. And you know, to have the great knockout with the hands today really impressed me. So congratulations. Tarek and Roger Bowling, another great fight. I'm not sure. Tarek's here. And, but Roger couldn't make it tonight. Anthony Smith, I don't think he's here, but he had a great submission tonight. And then OSP against TJ Cook, congratulations on that fight as well. And then everybody saw the Miesha Tate fight with Julie Kedzie. That was an amazing fight. And yeah, it was pretty impressive. And if you don't know, tonight is Miesha's birthday. So that's why she had the cupcakes. Yes. Happy birthday. So at this point, I'd just like to open it up for questions. If you guys have questions for any of the fighters or myself, please feel free to raise your hand.
Scott, can you talk a little bit more about the main event, obviously? And we talked a couple days ago about the possible distractions for Ronda leading up to this fight. Obviously, she didn't experience any in the fight.
Right. You know, I remember that conversation we had, and you know what? She's a fighter that she's a dangerous fighter. That's what I could say. And you know what? Some people get distracted because of the tactics, the promotion, her looks. You know, but at the end of the day, when you saw her walk down that ramp, you knew it was serious business. Here she comes. No worries. So maybe you could ask her the same question yourself.
Yeah, Ronda, I was just talking to your down here in front, talking to your boss there about the distractions you might have had leading up to this fight, which I asked you about a few days ago, which you said obviously you weren't going to experience any, and clearly you did in the fight. Can you just talk about that? And are you kind of glad that the build-up to this is over now that you're clearly kind of a superstar now in the sport?
Well, I'm glad. I'm always glad that it's done when it goes well. But I mean, it's always going to be like that. It's like a weird life where you go to like super extremes of all over the emotional spectrum all the time. So I appreciate it when I'm in there, and I'm relieved when it's over too. So it's just like it's something you get used to doing this.
And Scott, obviously you heard Ronda call out Cyborg. Is that the fight you want to make next, or is it even possible to I know you're going to say you got to go back to Las Vegas and kick things around with Sean.
Well, I'm going to have to go back to Las Vegas. No. But in seriousness, I mean, that's a fight that we definitely have on the radar when that fight would happen. I think Ronda clearly said she wants that fight to happen. And but as you know, Cyborg is on suspension right now, and until she gets off, we really don't have a fight. So when that fight becomes real is when she gets off, and then we'll start having that conversation, and then hopefully we'll make it happen.
And Miesha, real quick, did it give you any kind of special satisfaction to win the fight in the way that you did after what happened in March?
Yeah, kind of ironic, I guess, if you think about it. But winning a fight is always, satisfying. So I was happy that I won, but not thrilled with my performance, to be honest.
How bad were you hurt after the kick there in the third round? It looked like you might have been out and got just a minute there to pop back into it and rebound.
I felt like I was aware the whole time. Obviously she rocked me. She dropped me, but I saw the kick coming. She hit the kick, flashed me. I was awake before I hit the ground and aware. I saw her coming in with the punches. Then was just trying to work for a finish from there. Obviously I knew that was a big thing that she just accomplished, so I had to look to finish the fight.
Okay, question for Miesha. Noticed that you were speaking with Dana White a little bit before the coming event happened for about 20 minutes. Could you shed a little bit of light on that?
Yeah, I mean, he was just really, really excited with my performance. I mean, we talked about everything, from Ronda and I to, media and the weigh-ins. He said he liked that I came in the dress, and, we just had a nice little conversation. I gave him one of my shirts, and, it was definitely good. I think he was pretty happy with the night overall.
For Ronda, I'm sure you got to talk to your boss and it's up to them, but would you only fight Cyborg if she came to 135, or would you entertain the idea of 140 or 145, maybe title, maybe having 2 gold belts around your waist?
When she was champion and I knew she was doping, but I couldn't prove it, then that was a situation where I felt like I would have to go to her. You have to come to the champion. And now the situation's changed. Now I'm the champion, and she's been stripped of her title for good reason, and now she has to come to me. I don't owe her anything, and she needs to fight me more than I need to fight her. I got a line of girls that are, they all want to beat me up now, and who else is she going to fight, really? She needs to come to me.
Okay, and one more question. I've actually trained with your mother twice and seen you there at Coker's H.E.A.T Academy. She told us that she was master of the arm bars because her knees weren't so great for throwing for judo. So is that just something that's been drilled in you forever, and you just love that technique and that she's really pushed? What does it mean to come from that with your mother and having her in your corner?
I mean, obviously because that was her forte when she was competing. She always had, we do arm bars a lot when I was younger. But what a lot of people don't know is I tore my knee out when I was 16, and it was before I went out, before I started fighting in senior competition. And I spent that whole year doing only groundwork. And actually, Manny Gamburion, who's in the back right there, used to open up high stand every single day and then come in and work with me every afternoon. And so that's when my ground game really started to become like most, the biggest part of my game, which is very uncommon in judo. So it kind of makes you think that everything happens for a reason. I thought it was so terrible I tore my knee out, but because of that, I have, ground is a really big part of my game.
Thank you. And last question for Julie. That was a great work. Congratulations to both of you girls. I think that really puts women's MMA on the map and gets it out there. How frustrating is it? How are you feeling now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect? First round was kind of going to Ray. Second round was definitely going Miesha's way. Third round started your way, and obviously, you ended up getting caught.
Well, I mean, like you said, I got caught. It's part of the game, and I'm actually, there's a lot of frustration in getting caught. I don't like to lose at all, but I'm really, really happy that I got a chance to win. Win. But I mean, I feel like I won because I got to fight, I should say. Sorry about that. I had a little vodka. Yeah. Come on, guys. But yeah, no, I felt like, I'm walking away with this with my head held high because I felt like I gave a good show. I put on a good performance, and I got caught. I made a really big mistake at the end, and I don't believe that's ever going to happen again.
Scott?
Yes.
Possibilities of a rematch with Miesha and Ronda, and what's the future for Julie? Strikeforce.
Well, that's now we have to go back and say what we talked about earlier is, Sean did a great job matchmaking this fight, and we're going to go back to Las Vegas and have a conversation, and then we'll announce the future of fights, probably in the next upcoming 2 or 3 weeks.
Any possibilities to come back to San Diego?
I'd say I love San Diego. I think it's a great town, and we had some passionate fans out there, some loud fans, and I love the city. It's a beautiful city.
Ronda, Sarah obviously wanted to stay on her feet as long as possible. Were you really confident that, hey, look, it's only a matter of time before I get her on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I did pretty decent standing this time compared to last time. I really feel like I'm really young in my career. I've only been pro for like a year and a half now, and I'm starting to get a lot more comfortable standing. But I still have way more experience on the ground with throws than I do with striking. So I don't really see a need to purposely go out of my way to do what doesn't come naturally to me so much. I really think my striking is going great, and I'm happy with how it's going. But I'm always going to revert to what comes naturally to me.
Got just a quick question for you, Scott. Obviously you were there for the Gina Carano Cyborg fight, and that was a big fight for female MMA. We're not sure if we're going to get that fight right now, but can you compare the two circumstances leading up to? Because I feel like that will be a really big fight if it happens between Ronda and Cyborg. And can you just compare the two and how they stack up to one another?
I mean, I think that records are meant to be broken, and I think that the Carano Cyborg fight was one of the highest rated shows on Showtime. In fact, it was the highest rated MMA program on Showtime until we started the heavyweight tournament in February of last year. So for 2 years, that held the record. And once we get this fight together, I believe that fight will break the past record and the past gate records, because that's going to be probably the biggest fight in the history of mixed martial arts. That's what I believe.
Questions for Ronda, right here. What up, Ronda?
What up, lazy?
Are you going to take some time off, or are you trying to get right back in there? I know you've had your schedule full with photo shoots and everything like that. Is that something you just want to take a break from?
After every fight, I like to just take a week to kind of fall off the map and disappear. It gets tiring sometimes doing all this stuff. But we got a couple really cool plans. I want to train at home for a little while. I'll probably go to Stockton again for a little bit. We're thinking maybe go to Thailand or something cool like that. We got some time, so we'll do something fun.
I know you've been working with Edmund as well as Richard on your striking. Did you want to go in there and test your hands a little bit? Were you thinking that when you first got in there at all?
I did test my hands a little bit, just a little bit. Why do I have to do more than that? It works, so I don't really feel like why everyone says they specifically want to see me do something else. It's trying to be maximally efficient with minimal effort, and I feel like I did that.
Congratulations on the win. Scott, as far as Julie Kedzie is concerned, what can we see or expect next for her?
I'll tell you, I was impressed with the fight. I think she did a great job. She got caught at the end. Miesha Tate's fight with Julie was an unbelievable fight. I mean, that fight could go, we could do a lot of different things with these two ladies, which, we're going to have a conversation. But, female mixed martial arts is here to stay. Showtime Television loves the female fights. I love the female fights. I've always believed in it. We did the first female fight in 2006 with Gina Carano fighting Elena Maxwell back in the day. That was the first fight in the state of California that was sanctioned. And we're going to continue doing it. And I think that they proved themselves again and again and again. And, that question just, I think, should stop coming up as to, is it worthy? Are they going to keep going? Of course, look at the fights tonight. They were unbelievable. And, they're great athletes. And I think that tonight they showed that again.
Ronda, right here, Spencer. Can you talk about everything you've learned, not only inside the cage, but outside the cage, and especially in the last few months, and going through everything with the media and whatnot?
Well, I learned that Yeah, if there's a camera on or someone has their phone in front of you, it doesn't matter if someone's your friend or not, or you think they're your friend, or if it goes up online, you never know what's going to end up out there. So I guess I'd have to learn to trust people less.
And Vince, a very impressive performance from you. Can you just talk us through the victory? First round, you thought you had him finished there, but got a little bit tired. Can you just talk about it?
Yeah, definitely in the first round, I think I rocked him pretty good because I was even looking at him. Every time I hit him, he'll go limp. Then I hit him again, he'll wake up. Hit him again, go limp. He just kept on waking up. And when I was trying to posture up to actually position myself, he just scrambled right up. But even going into the third round, I just came out and I felt real fresh. And I was just moving around. And I heard his coach talking about throw the overhand right is there. And I kind of took a step back and I was like, well, my overhand left is there too. So I just went ahead and threw it and I just took one step forward and I knew he was out.
Hey, Scott, I have a question for you. Randy Garcia here. So to touch light on the last Strikeforce event, we had Lorenz Larkin get on his knees and ask for bonuses. And to touch on that, with you said a bunch of great fights. We had knockout of the night, submissions of the nights, fight of the nights. Do we see bonuses coming to the Strikeforce at all? Submission of the night bonus, knockout of the night bonus, and so forth.
Yeah, you know what? That's something that is still being talked internally. It's a different business model than the UFC pay-per-view fights or their FX fights. So, you know what? That's something that just hasn't been determined yet.
Hey there. Scott, question for you. Did Jacare earn himself a title fight?
I think he looked pretty good. And I know Luke would like to fight him, and, you know, we'll start talking to Jacare's camp right away. Sean and I, we really haven't even had a chance to talk, and, you know, with Steven and myself and Sean, we haven't had a chance to talk, so, you know, give us a day or so. But, you know, to me, I would like to see that fight happen. I know Jacare would like that fight to happen. And, you know, Luke's looking for that fight, so I think it'd be an amazing fight.
I think so, too. And, Ronda, congratulations, too. You can still trust some of us, too, by the way. Curious if you've had any conversations with Dana. Everybody keeps pressing him, saying, can we see a special attraction in the UFC? Are we going to see women fight? And he says, if I were to do it, I would consider Ronda Rousey. Just curious if you've had any further conversations with Dana, if you want that even at all, and how you feel about it.
No, we haven't really talked specifically about what promotion I'm going to fight in. I just know the people that I want to fight, and where they show it is not really my business so much. You know, as long as I still get the fights I want and I still get paid, pretty much I'm happy. So whether it's on, you know, Showtime or pay-per-view or Fox, it's just a fight to me. The only difference is how other people are watching it. It doesn't change my fight.
Well, I can answer that one for you. I mean, that's definitely be a Showtime fight, Showtime Bruce fight. I mean, you know, Showtime has really backed the female division, and you know, we pretty much a lot of the fighters here, except for Jacare, started on the challenger shows, right, and had worked their way up. So, you know, to me, those fights are going to be on Showtime.
And actually, Scott, following up, if you could just discuss your relationship with Invicta a little bit. I saw Liz Carmouche today. It was nice. I know, you know, Julie works with Invicta, and it's nice to have the ladies cross over a little bit. Yeah. So if you could just talk about how your relationship works in terms of helping to flesh out the women fighters.
Basically, if we're not going to keep the fighter active right now, then we'll just go ahead and lend the fighters out. And that's all it is, you know. And I think we've done it with other organizations, right, Sean? Yeah. Not just Invicta, but, you know, if some of the guys aren't, you know, coming around fast enough, then we'll let them fight in other organizations. And then and Strikeforce has always done that, you know, whether it was a Dream or, you know, back then, different organizations. But that's the only link up.
And last question, I'm sorry. You've probably been getting a lot of tweets, a lot of grief about the fact that Miesha and Julie weren't on the Strikeforce, on the Showtime card. Obviously, that was like fight of the night and everything. How do you feel about, you know, she was champ one fight ago, and then she went to the prelims. Just curious what your thoughts are.
Well, you know what, the way I look at it, she was the main event on the Showtime Extreme, right? I mean, it's a great television spot, and everybody was watching that fight leading up to the 7 o'clock start. So that's why that was strategically placed there.
Thank you.
Sarah, can you just take us through kind of your impressions of how the fight went? Obviously, it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. Once you got kind of down there into her world, what goes through your head at that point about 30 seconds in?
Well, you know, I'm extremely embarrassed by my performance. I knew that Ronda coming in is a tough athlete, a world-class judo player. I didn't underestimate her at all. I knew that she was going to be a tough fight. And as I say, I'm embarrassed that I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do and land the strikes I wanted to land. You know, I want to fight tomorrow. I'm ready to go. So I'm just really hoping that Sean Shelby and Scott are going to talk, get me on another card right away. I want that fight again. I know that I can win that fight, and Ronda fought an amazing fight tonight, really smart. She clearly got the win. I can't take anything away from her, but you know, I want to earn my way back once again. I was champion before, and in the future I'm going to be champion again.
As you said after the fight, you know, you defended that armbar twice, and then the third time was kind of the charm. What are you thinking during those first two armbars? How tight were they? I mean, how close were they?
For being in such a bad situation, I was pretty comfortable. You know, I felt like my hand position was somewhat all right. clearly I didn't want to hang out there. I didn't want to stay there. It's not a great position to be in. And kind of once I lost my grip and she was able to pry my arm out, I was really stuck, and that's kind of the end of it for the most part.
It's to Miesha. Miesha, do you feel you earned an immediate rematch with Ronda? And how bad do you want your title back?
At this point, I don't feel that everyone's saying it was fight of the night and everything, and that's great, and I'm really happy that it was an entertaining bout, but I personally am not happy with my performance, and I definitely don't think that it was contention-worthy performance. I'm not going to ask for that at that point because I don't feel that I deserve it. I think that I need to take a couple fights, and, I need a better performance than that. I think that the fans deserve something better, and I know that I can deliver better than that. So I'm just going to take it one step at a time, and see where it goes from there.
Question for you, Scott, here in the back. Tarek's camp keeps tripping over here about, are they going to get a title shot? Is he going to get a title shot? So I figured I'd ask for them.
Right. Well, you know what? I think there'll be a great fight to put on in the future. Again, it's something that we just haven't sat down and talked about it. But you know what? I'd say Tarek did a great job tonight. I think him and Roger put on a heck of a show. So we'll have to wait and see. But I can't make the commitment right now.
Is that the fight you want? Do you think that he's deserving of it?
So you're trying to pin me in a corner here right now, right?
I am.
Call me on Tuesday.
Well, Scott, just one quick question. Bobby Green, impressive win to start off the show. Did he do enough to get a fight with Ryan Couture? I know he's been calling out, doing everything but showing up at Extreme Couture. Is that the next fight for Bobby Green?
Well, you know what? That's something that we'll decide this week. Yeah, I just don't have an answer for you right now on that. Good. Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the post-fight press conference. One thing I got a note from Andy here on Showtime Sunday at 9:30. This is p.m. Okay, 9:30 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. The replay of the 7 o'clock in our main events fight with Ronda will replay this Sunday at 9:30 a.m. And then the Showtime Extreme featuring Miesha's fight with Julie will air on Showtime Extreme this Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. And we'll see everybody in Sacramento on September 29th for the Melendez fight against Pat Healy. Thank you.
Programmet presenteras av Betsay.com.